Game week 29 is over. That was quite possibly the worst game week of all time. Right, guys, welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast. My name's Adam, and as always, I'm joined by Baker. Evening, mate. How are you?
What a week. What a week.
This game never it gets better every time. Like, you just, when you think you're over that hill of like madness that can happen in a game week, it takes 7 minutes and the whole floor falls out from underneath everyone.
Like, this is the beauty. This is the beauty of this, is that if you were trying to explain it to someone, you couldn't. Like, we've just had a week where 70% of the game has played their free hit in a week, and the average score is 12.
Oh man,
70% of the game chose whatever 15 players they could pick from, and the average score is 12.
It's just insane. I think so. Can we start by saying, no matter what anyone says, like, if you played your free hit, you didn't win anything. Like, this is like, you lost. Like, just threw the chip away into the distance, and until next season, we'll see you then. But
it's like you just giving the chip away.
Yeah, it's literally just chucked it in the bin. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a pretty important chip. And I thought it was going to do all right. And look, there were a few cool picks in there that people picked up on and people got, and some people had, and then some people transferred players out just before deadline and changed things up and stuff. So, if you did get him in his return, then cool. If, like, I saw some people with Anthony Robinson, cool. Obviously picking up like Chris Wood and Gibbs White, there were some, but there was no nobody had all of them. Like, nobody had all the combinations. You only seem to see people with one, maybe two. And that was it. And there was just no returns anywhere else. And I mean, obviously that's largely down to Spurs. Because like, eggs in basket.
And Brentford.
Like,
most people had six, at least 5 across Brentford and Spurs.
Yeah.
So that's half the team just done before you even go to it. And then Doughty, obviously, it was.
And then four West Ham West Ham Villa returns, and nobody had anybody. Kufal to Antonio, and then Diaby to Zaniolo. Like
yeah, Diaby to Zaniolo. Well, that was the best of the week.
Because I was looking at, I was looking at that the last minute one, and I was trying to work out the rule on the handball. Because if Souček handballs it, but it goes in off Bowen's face, does it actually matter that it hits Souček's hand? Because he's not the one that scored. Depends on who you give the goal to, right?
Exactly.
This is the stupid thing.
Exactly.
And I was like, surely that is just a Bowen goal, and we just get a few more points.
Yeah. I mean, that goal was the epitome of the week, really, for the end of the week, because you were there and you at the end and you were like, has it hit him in the face? I can't quite tell. But this is the thing. We've watched it as FPL players, and we've zoomed in and we're looking and we're trying to work it out. And we're like, I don't really know what's happened here. I genuinely don't. I suspect it hit Souček's arm, but
I think
if you just,
I think it got to the point where that replay where you did see the ball move and then it was like behind the post, and you just, to be fair, you could look at that and go, actually, there's the only thing that could have made that thing move was his arm. And I think that's the conclusion they came to. And that's fine. I don't mind that. Obviously it takes ages and whatever, but surely if it hits Bowen's face, it doesn't matter because it's not handball, because it's not the guy that scored the goal.
So ridiculous. So ridiculous. That's the thing about handball, isn't it? Because the interesting one with handball is that handball shouldn't be subjective, really. It should be, if you did it, it is, especially if it's a goal scorer. And therefore it's an objective decision, which means they have to go black or white. They have to go, yes, it hit, or no, it didn't, right? There's no like weirdness where you could be subjective. Like if it was like, I can't quite tell if you fouled him or not, they probably would have just gone with, ref's decision type
Yeah.
space on that one. But with that one, they've got to make something of it, and then they call the ref over. I love it. They're sitting there in Stockley Park watching it on their big screen, zooming around, and they're like, "Do you know what? Why don't you come and have a look at it on a tiny screen where there's 50,000 people around you shouting and going to go nuts if you do over all this?" What was the point in that?
Yeah, that did feel a bit farcical because there wasn't really any subjectivity there. It felt like, yeah, like what was going to, what could Jared Gillett change in that moment? Like what? Like I get it with the offside stuff. Like, is he interfering? Don't know. Maybe yes, no. Keep the decision on the field, whatever. But that one, yeah, it did feel very pantomime.
Yeah, it just seemed odd.
And yeah,
just good process.
It was like the VAR was like, look, if we're going to overturn this, you need to check this because they're going to go fucking mental.
Yeah. So what we want to do is draw the attention on you.
Back to you. You're taking all this heat.
Yeah. Therefore, you've made the decision, not us.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a VAR issue, even though it took 8 minutes to work it out.
I don't like it. If I was a West Ham fan, both of those goals, I couldn't actually definitely say on either of the Antonio one earlier as well. I couldn't definitely say his hand.
Oh, I must have missed that.
You must, yeah. Antonio scored and it got ruled out. And
sorry. Yes, yeah. That one, yeah.
I couldn't quite tell whether it did or not, and I'm like, I don't really understand.
At the same time, like there's no, like neither of the decisions saw a huge objection from either player.
Yeah.
So it feels like actually, like Souček knows he hit his arm, and Antonio, I guess, feels like it hit his arm, and he just thought, I almost got away with it, type thing. So for me, actually, the decision sits a little bit better that the players don't go mad. Like,
I don't care about Antonio one. I just want Bowen's bloody points. I want some points.
Just want to put, even though everyone else was going to get those points, you wanted the points.
Didn't care.
Let's have a look at how many points we got. Yeah. Oh no! Before we do this, I just want to say hello to everyone that's watching, because you won't be watching this live. We've decided, because it's an international break, we're going to do a quick pod and then send it out, and hopefully you're enjoying this at your leisure whenever you wish to watch it. So apologies, it won't be a live, and we'll see you once we're back from our international break holiday ourselves.
Yeah, I've just sprung on you that I'm actually going on holiday next week.
Yes, so I need to find someone to do the team selection pod on the Thursday. But that's fine.
And so I've got a big week at work. I've got a cold, and I was like, "Can we do early?" And you want to do early because the golf's on. So
this is true. I did say that. Yeah, I do want to watch the golf. This is very true.
It wasn't so that we didn't get abused in the chat
in the live chat, and the fact that we both free hitted, and the fact that it was the worst decision ever. Yeah. Anyway, so start with you.
I got 15 points.
Cool.
And all 15 of my players did not return. Because I sabotaged my team by the last minute, right, was that I had, as you know, I'm a massive Anthony Robinson fan, and I was like, he's going to haul against Tottenham. So at the last minute, I was like, I've got to take him out. And I tried to, it was interesting. I started panicking. I was like, oh, who have I not got enough people from, or too many players from? And I was like, oh, yeah. Definitely West Ham are going to score. So Powell's definitely not going to return. So I deliberately tried to sabotage my bench, and yeah, none of them got any returns.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
So I've got no one to shout about here. Nothing.
Cool. Cool. Well, obviously, yeah, because we both had Reggie on as well. So like 7 minutes into the game week, everything goes to hell, which is perfect. But I mean, I've got basically the same. I've got roughly the same team, except I've got Gibbs White instead of Kudus.
Yeah.
Tell
everybody that's listening and doesn't know this, or is watching and wondering, is how did you get an auto sub come on for bench wankery?
So I had Tyrone Mings. So the problem is, right, and I'll tell you, this is a problem, is that when you try and do bench wankery, right, if you pick a player who doesn't have a fixture in the week, they're auto subbed out at like the start of the week on FPL Game Week, Live FPL, all these sites. Yeah, great sites, don't get me wrong, but auto subs happen immediately. Now, I didn't want that to happen because, you know, I'm top tier, right? Bench wanker. So I put Mings in there because he was from a team that played in the game week, and it was the last game of the game week. So Doughty stayed on my bench for the entire time. And the reason Doughty went on my bench was because he was the highest owned defender that I had. So the idea is that I was going to have the biggest jump of pre-auto subs and post-auto subs rank. And Doughty gets 1 point, so it doesn't really make any difference. It would have been majestic, and I'll do it again, but didn't quite work out this time. But it was fun. It was fun.
Sensational. You know, when like we had JC on, and some people think that people just, analytics guys just press solve on review and send it. But you see JC and you're like, oh, actually, this boy's a player. This is like you. This is like the amateurs just chucked Haaland in their team.
Yeah. Oh,
not
yeah.
going to work.
To be fair, I had Allison and Trent in there before, and then I went, you know what, that makes no sense because they'll just be auto subbed out straight away.
Exactly. The next feature review should add is pro bench rankery. That's
I agree.
What they should add.
I agree. So yeah, I got 21 points. Got a green arrow. I'll take it.
Fantastic.
Out of everything, I got a green arrow, like 40,000 places. That's it. But that's ridiculous. So I get a green arrow of 40,000 places with a 1.4 million game week rank. That's not bad. Like 1.4 million is pretty good.
Yeah, good.
21 points.
I'm really glad not to see any more Brentford and Luton players in my team.
Oh, mate, yeah, get them gone. Although, actually, no, I still have Doughty. But the rest have gone.
Kabore, to be fair.
But the rest have gone, yeah. No Brentford, they've gone. Forest, I mean, Gibbs White saved me, but he's gone. And I'm so glad I get to keep the two Spurs boys. Perfect. Yeah. And that's...
So we're gonna do this super quick.
Yeah, super quick. 4 games. We'll just, as you said, I mean, I might have mixed up my tabs here. I don't know which one I'm going to do first. Not that one. This one. So yeah, it was just to reiterate what you said about the free hit chip right at the start. And just looking at some of the chip usages that we've seen so far. So like in the top 10K, like 66%, like 2/3 of the game played their free hit this week, and 75% have used it. And how that looks through the ranks, people are watching, you'll see on the screen. But for those listening, 78% of the top 100K have played their free hit, 79% of the top 250, 80.5% of the top 500, and 81.2% of the top million have played their free hit chip. So if you have played it, there aren't too many people behind you that are gonna have it in 34. So it feels okay. Now there are obviously a loud minority on FPL Twitter that will have their free hits, and they're going to do pretty well, it seems. Assuming we don't get a week like this, because if nobody returns in game week 34, we're all just going to be laughing about it again.
Well, no one different returns in game week 34. So we've got some early predictions thanks to our lovely Spurs friend James from Planet FPL, who's updated Peter.
Yeah. So head over to fpl.team.
Yep. And currently, his predictions are now, because obviously Wolves now, from the FA Cup this weekend, changed the trajectory for them. Man United's trajectory have changed because they obviously have just beaten Liverpool, which means that, we're now in a situation where potentially we have 5 double matches, so 10 teams doubling in 37. So that's really interesting because everyone's going to bench boost that week.
Yeah.
And now it looks like it's a really easy week. It's going to be really hard not to do something where you end up with at least 10 doublers. If you look at the teams that don't double, I'm just looking at the teams that are in there. And realistically, West Ham, Wolves, Villa and Bournemouth, they're the only players, most teams with players that people have that have got a single. Everybody else currently, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Spurs, all of those teams currently are suggested they will have a double in 37. So therefore, that should just be bench boost City. And then we go to then game week 34, which is the supposed weighing in a free hit, and the teams that double are Bournemouth and Wolves. So yes, you could triple up on in those teams, but most people have got Solanke. Interestingly, with Wolves, you could go a bit earlier on that because they've got a fantastic run, 31 to 35. They've got Burnley, West Ham, Forest, a double, and then Luton.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And Bournemouth, we know they're on a great run now. So yeah, people that are going to potentially wildcard 30, 31 with a view that they would free hit in 34. I ain't sure that's the game now. I even wonder if there might be some people that decide that they're going to free hit in 30. Like, you could free hit in 30, take out all your Arsenal and Man City players, triple Liverpool, and triple Spurs. Go in on Newcastle for West Ham at home, go in on, say, Forest, home to Palace, maybe. Fulham against Sheffield United.
Yeah.
So a Leno, a Moniz we've seen this week.
And a Robinson, yeah, you could do that kind of thing.
Chelsea have got Burnley.
Yeah.
So
and people they'll have Palmer, but some might have Gusto. But yeah. Gusto's only really a pick, I think, if people have wildcarded like myself, perhaps. I mean, that was important for me to get that. I felt like that was important on wildcard when I did it pre-game week 29, was to get that Chelsea player in there because we knew we were doubling later and it just saved the transfer down the line. Possibly that's an interesting look at it. I mean, yeah, and obviously this is because the Tottenham Chelsea game kind of just drops into 34, even though Tottenham blank, it will blank essentially that week.
Yeah, but you could even free hit in 30 and then in 31 you then would even wild card straight off the back of it and pick those teams with those runs through. I don't hate that at all. I was thinking about players like Zoff, who we know really well. Like, he's going into this week currently because he didn't free hit. He's going into this week without obviously he's taken Haaland out for Morris. He's taken Solanke out for Tony, so he misses that home for Everton. He hasn't got Palmer in his team, and he hasn't got Salah. And it's like, like, he was thinking he probably doesn't need it this week, and I don't think he does. And then wild card maybe 31. And I also think, for people like me who hasn't wild carded yet and has used their free hit, you'd have a massive advantage against me because I've got triple Arsenal and triple City.
Yeah.
Just an initial thing, 30, it looks like it's a pretty good bit of fun. And I think even on wild cards, I was originally looking at something like 30. 31 still looks decent. 31 still looks decent as an opportunity to jump off Watkins. I think it will be popular. Jump on Wolves. Like, if you're going to jump on Wolves, you want to leave yourself enough room to get off them, don't you?
You don't want to be fully invested there.
Nah.
Which is fine because there's only a handful. I mean, like with most teams, right? There's obviously only a handful of players that you want. I think what's interesting, like, these are obviously predicted, but I saw over the weekend. I think a couple of accounts might have said it. Maybe need verifying, but the game week 34, game week 35 games are likely to be confirmed by the Premier League during the international break. So the good thing is we will have this information. Obviously, we're podding before that information comes out, but we will have this information, and that if there are only two games in two doubles in, or one double, two doubling teams in game week 34, then that is interesting actually. Like that free hit in 30, does sound sounds more fun than free hitting in 29.
Doesn't it? I don't look at that. I'm like, God, I'd be well jealous.
Triple Chelsea, triple Liverpool, triple Fulham, and
I would be really jealous.
Yeah, triple Spurs. There's 12 done. You can just put your eggs all in that basket.
Yeah,
and go. You say chuck a Forest player in there. Yeah, no, that sounds fun, actually. And like, someone that's wildcarded is not going to have is not going to be able to max out on those players. Somebody who's not wildcarding until 31 and not free hitting is definitely not going to have those players. It's
always got to
actually,
take hits to then start catching up. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, I actually think there'd be quite a few hits in 30 as well, as people need to like rejig their teams and do all that sort of stuff. So taking no hit and being able to react to anything that happens, like international break wise. Honestly, I don't. Maybe that might play out that way. And there's always, as well, the other thing is it might also bring into play the old free hit 38. Go
maybe,
chase at the end.
maybe.
So,
It could be fun.
all good fun. Well, there'll be endless pods that talk strategy, and it won't be us over the next 2 weeks.
No, no, we'll be resting. But
Rest.
just a quick reminder that the Above Average FPL podcast is sponsored by Crypto Block Dan. There he is, spinning around in the corner of our screen. Thanks to Dan for all of his support. And if you want to support us, you can drop a like on the video, review the podcast, hit subscribe on YouTube, or if you want to come and join us on Discord, you can go to patreon.com/Above Average FPL. We have just done, so we talked about this last week. Like you said last week or the week before, you said one thing you might do in our Discord is you might just profit, basically. And
Yes.
and so we do a last man standing. And some people might have seen the tweet earlier, but we had like 10 Spurs. This was like week 1 of a new competition. 10 Spurs, 6 Brentford, 4 West Ham, 1 Villa, 1 Luton, and 1 Fulham. And Kev, your support mate, is second to none, and we love it. Literally picks the team against Tottenham every week since he's joined the Discord, since we started Last Man Standing. Doesn't even matter if he's out, he'll still just type in there like the team that's playing us every week. This week he's managed to take home a shirt from us in 1 week.
On St. Patrick's Day.
On St. Patrick's Day. Like, you couldn't make it up.
Imagine it if he gets a little Shamrock Rovers or something like that.
I mean, yeah, that'd be amazing. So he's he asked for a shirt for his boy because his boy basically lives in football shirts. So we have sorted that out for him, and we also do other games in there, and obviously we're chatting away all the time. Good time of the season, I guess, to join up, and then like June's free, like it's fine, and then piping in on the new season content when it comes around inevitably. So yeah, it's a good fun place to be. A few things going on, and so if you want to join, then patreon.com/Above Average FPL, and let's go to the games. We're just gonna do them in order. I can't be asked to do anything else because there's only 4 games, right? So
Fair days.
So first game, Burnley 2, Brentford 1. So, if you're listening, we're looking at basically XG timelines of how the game kind of went. Burnley stick up 2.6 XG, which is, I'd say it's not unexpected, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, includes a pen, and it includes one of the worst misses of all time. But
this is true.
Maybe not even the worst miss of the weekend.
No.
Timo can't be far off.
Yeah, true. And then Brentford put up 1 XG away from home
with
10 men. This is there's also that after 7 minutes there is obviously that Brentford do have 10 men. The start of the game week.
Just a crippler for the
I hadn't even turned. So I'm normally watching it, and I got the chance to watch it on TV, which was good. And so I just literally switched it on, and as I switched it on, Reguilon was walking off the pitch, and I was just like, "What the hell's going on?" Obviously, a stupid foul. Stupid foul.
It is stupid, but I do feel quite bitter when it's one that's not even given by the ref. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does the ref not give it? And then, because he has just bundled him over.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you go from a decision where the ref's not given a penalty to it is a penalty and it's a sending off. You're like,
it's not. There's no severity. There's not a severity scale though for the red card. It's did he attempt to play the ball? Because like if he puts his legs round him and tries to get the ball and like literally scissors him in half, he probably only gets a yellow. How stupid is that?
He's challenging for the ball. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's not challenging for the ball. He just can't get there. Like he's trying to go through the man to get there.
Yeah. But because, as I say, because he hasn't put his legs around him and wrapped around him, it's a red rather than a yellow.
Stupid.
And then obviously, Fofana misses that huge chance, which was mad.
You just can't read anything into this other than you don't want the players.
Yeah, pretty much.
And what on earth are we thinking? Like, we hate Mark Flecken. We hate him.
Yeah, you hate him more than I. Yeah, we do hate him.
I don't know what I was thinking. I did waver right at the last minute. I almost felt like I was like, Watkins is out. Maybe Ariola's the pick. And I almost did it. And then I was like, maybe Flecken doesn't play. So I stuck Areola on my bench right at the last minute. I almost did it. I reckon it's an interesting one, this one, where I feel like ownership got in my head with it, is that because Areola was the keeper for non-free hitters, it was almost like in my head was like, I want Areola, but because I'm a free hit, I think I should go Flecken. I feel like it influenced me away from that one. So I was...
I think possibly. But then also, if you say, I want the keeper against Burnley versus I want the keeper against Villa, I mean, like, you just take the keeper against Burnley.
It's just the best. Effectively, Areola felt to me like the best home keeper this week.
That's fair.
Whereas I did think it was away anyway. And just that one clean in 18.
It's a long time. I mean, the last 8 games haven't exactly been that. Like, if people have talked about, and particularly in the last 6 games, and saying they've been an absolute disaster, and they've played the thing is they've played everyone under the sun in the last 6 games. But, all of the top teams they've played.
But they're in trouble.
Yeah, they're down there. I mean, obviously they're fortunate that the 5 teams below them are probably worse. And yeah, well, I guess we'll just have to. They've just got no players, have they?
Yeah.
Obviously, Bumo coming back is good, but we didn't really see much. What did you think? What did you think of Aya just screaming at the ref after he scored?
Screaming, just lost his mind.
So stupid. It was annoying though.
A pen as well.
It should have been a pen, and then we'd have all got Tony points.
It's in a way though. Do you not think Jorgensen's not helped himself by having a little dig after? So Sankas threw him to the ground, and he's sort of as he's landing on the floor, he's like, "I'll just grab you a little bit back." So then even the commentator was straight into, "Oh, it's a bit of both," as opposed to what he should have done is had both hands out, screaming his head off. Do you know what I mean? I don't think Jorgensen helped himself by actually making it more of a tussle, when actually what it was just a slam to the floor, blatant pen.
I think this one was though the Muric just going through the back of Tony was the one that incensed Aya as well.
Yeah.
But I mean there were a few. I thought there were a few. Yeah. I thought there were a few legitimate ones in there as a Tony owner.
They were still checking the Muric one though.
Yeah,
if I hadn't scored, we might have got that.
Yeah, bastard.
Yeah, great header.
Yeah, good header, and needed to wipe out that Charlie Taylor clean sheet because.
Yeah.
I mean, hugely owned Charlie Taylor. I think just the fact that 5 people on Twitter that we speak to owned him, I think was just more than enough.
Yeah.
Move on.
Do you not feel like every game's free hit versus non-free hit? Who's the winner here? That. I mean, Twitter's just I've seen a few tonight where it's I'm off. I can't be doing with this anymore. On Twitter, these sort of weeks just. They just force the worst out of people. Everyone is just fighting everybody.
I sent out the baitiest tweet you'll ever see, which included Charlie Taylor 3 times on Friday. And I mean, look, I just think it's just all part of the fun. For me, it's all part of the fun. If there's anybody who understands how to bait an entire community and to have fun with it, and just to rile people up, obviously it's Andy Martin, and he loves it. He's genuinely the best. He's genuinely the best.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane how good he is. Because I know he's doing it, and he still winds me up as well. I'm looking at it, I'm going, you bastard, I have to reply to this. I'm do not reply, Adam.
I always think most of this. Understand that I've never considered muting Andy. Like I don't ever do that or any of that stuff because I'm like, it's fun. It
It
is
is.
funny. It is funny. So therefore, you then take it, but just expect it. Just expect it. I don't mind the battle stuff. I I do not like the well, I was right stuff.
Yeah.
Because nobody was predicting that Reggie was going to get sent off in 6 minutes.
No.
Yeah. Do you know what? Free hit's wrong because one of the Brentford defenders gets sent off in 6 minutes.
Who the non-free hitters had as well.
Not all of them, though.
Nah.
Not all of them. He was still only 38% owned.
Ah, fair. Yeah.
So it's not everyone, but he's almost like the poster boy because he's in every free hitters.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's move on. Let's move on from this game and pick up this wonder. Luton won, Forest won, and after Reguilón got sent off, I basically switched over to this because I thought, well, I got more chance of getting something from this game, and then of course Doughty gets subbed at half time, and obviously I've already got the Gibbs White assist by that point, so it's all good.
And because Forest have gone ahead, they then not only does Doughty, I mean, there's the double up. Not only does Doughty go off, who is Morris's greatest provider of chances, but he goes off for Woodrow, which means that Woodrow goes to number 9, and then Morris goes to number 10. So
Yeah.
not only do you lose Doughty, but the other guy goes out of position in the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's just and then
Yeah,
when they get the late equaliser, I was like, who is it? Who is it? Please, 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 please. Luke fucking Berry.
I said something like thanks for wiping the clean sheet. Oh no, because it was because Gibbs White went up in the bonus, that's why. Because Gibbs White went up in the bonus because the guys getting cleans were getting all the bonus and stuff. Someone said that Luke Berry was the guy from Heartbeat.
Nick Berry,
is that Nick Berry?
Nick Berry from Heartbeat, and is it Luke Perry? It was the guy from Beverly Hills 90210. That's cool. Luke Berry. I mean, I saw him afterwards. He looked like a lovely guy. He scored in every single league. I saw that for him.
Okay, nice.
First Forest player to score in League Two, League One, Championship, and Premier League.
Luton player.
Sorry, yeah, Luton player. Alain Garona is unlucky.
Oh.
Gibbs White was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
So deserved it. Deserved to get a bonus because he was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah. Alain Garona is really unlucky actually because
they get
obviously get the Origi one that's cleared off the line, and then they get his shot that's cleared off the line as well. Madness.
And after, was it after deadline? I think it was after deadline. They get announced that Taiwo was out for weeks. So therefore, it was like post deadline. Suddenly, everyone, because I reckon if we knew that a couple of days earlier, we would have been a little bit, yeah. Once we knew we had the Wood minutes,
because Wood would have taken penalties. No, he would have taken the pens. No, well, he'd have been in the conversation at least. If he's not on the pitch, I think Gibbs White is obviously just taking him. But if he's on the pitch, I think he's got a shout for them, right? He's a number 9. I mean, he's I'm just realizing I just forgot that we didn't actually speak. We know how much we hate Mark Flecken. Did you see when he rolls the ball out and Fofana's standing behind him?
Oh my god. that genuinely would have ended. I hadn't known it had happened until I saw a match of the game. I was like, I literally almost vomited in my mouth when I saw that.
Weirdly, I got I'm playing Sorare and I get this you get points, you get a thing for a last man tackle, and Flecken got one. I'm like, how the hell does a keeper get a last man tackle? But I didn't even bother looking into it. I just accepted it. But I'm realizing now that was it.
It was a lovely, lovely little tackle, but it would have been much funnier if he had then given away the penalty afterwards and then got sent off.
Oh my!
You can't get a double jeopardy. You can't get sent off.
Anyway, so back to this. Very happy to be getting rid of all your players that you own from these teams now.
I shall never willingly play a player from Forest or Luton again.
Moving on. Fulham 3, Spurs 0. With Muniz literally looking like he's humping us, which he pretty much did.
I feel like I feel like you're slightly out of the responsibility for this one because you were talking about Muniz and talking about was there, whereas I was full on
All week.
I was full on. Basically, I feel like I was like what Tottenham was, and I heard it on a few Tottenham pods and stuff as well. That was I was like, yeah, we've won 4-0, we're up, we're gonna fucking smash these, we're gonna win 4-0 again. Like we're in now, we're off, we've sorted all our defense out, we're kings of the world. I kind of feel like we played a bit like that way, just arrogance, arrogance from me, end up arrogance from them, complacency, whatever you want to call it. I had a message when I go out to Scottsdale in May. I go and see a guy at Walshy. He's one of the FML guys, but not Walsh, who does the FML. Sometimes you might, if you listen to FML, you'll hear him talk about Cuz, and Cuz is Walshy, who's a guy who lives out in Scottsdale, and he's a big Fulham fan. So I was getting it, and then and he hadn't listened to Thursday night until after the game. Then listened to it, message me, "You arrogant bastard." I was like, yes. Yes, I am. So yeah, everything we deserved, really. They they were so on it. Walshy actually said to me, he said, it feels like all that Fulham want to do now is to beat up big teams. And they've been brilliant against all the big teams all season. So that's maybe one for us to think about going forward. Is Marco Silva's game now? Is I'm just going to smash up these big boys because they were hungry for it. And we talked about it. Obviously, look, if the Sun chance or the Madison chance goes in the first half, maybe it wakes us up and maybe it's a completely different game because maybe it just completely knocks the stuffing out of them. But it didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like just any time we tried to make, Madison's good at making those passes that break lines, right? And every time he tried to make one of those passes, there was Iwobi in the way. There was Paulinho in the way. Like Paulinho was all over him. And it was only really the Son chance and then his chance where he got away. Outside of that, he couldn't get away from him. And I mean, we paid for it. We really, really paid for it. I mean, the ball from Robinson to Muniz is, I can't explain how good that ball is. And if you have, I mean, I'm sure most people have seen it, and the touch from Muniz that literally makes Vicario takes 3 steps to his left, just opens up. Like he's basically shooting at like half the goal, and the keeper's there. Like he's literally got half the goal to score in.
It's throwback football. It's a proper fullback that can cross, that wants to get down the line and bang in beautiful balls.
But it's deep and early. That's what's the best thing about it. It's really early.
And it's a proper big number 9 charging onto it and finish it like a proper number 9 at like 4.5 million is. If this had happened like 7-8 weeks ago, he'd be 100% owned next week. Playing Sheffield United. He'd be 100% owned next week but already he would be hugely owned because of the weird situation that we're sort of in sort of wildcard territory, and we've been in sort of double last week and blank this week, and then even now we've got a situation where potentially people won't prioritize him next week when he's playing Sheffield United. But this is a proper number 9. I also think probably because of the Broja thing came in as well, and all that type of stuff that people thought maybe he might take his place and so forth. But
what a ridiculous thing that was. That headline, whatever it was, saying like they're going to have to pay 4 million if he doesn't start, and I'm like, wow, that's quite severe. And then you go into it and it goes, oh yeah, but he actually has to start every single game until the end of the season.
Not just this one, every single game, because he has to start 10 games where it is under his so it was a bait.
That was so stupid. But
so Muniz is class.
He's actually really, really, really good. And I guess we underestimated him a little bit. I mean, it's fair. I think that's fair to say. Like,
yeah,
I guess we underestimated him. And look, I mean, we're not gonna stand here and. I mean, I had him in my team early on, Caveat would have been I'd have had triple Brentford defence and no Morgan Gibbs-White. So, there's always things going on. But look, we're Tottenham fans. So, we can be excused.
Yes.
You lot, disgrace.
Disgrace.
Yeah.
There is an
people were telling you all week that Fulham were good at home. I was listening to it. LR was telling everyone Fulham decent at home, least goals conceded, like 4th least goals conceded and all this sort of stuff. You all heard that. We didn't. We're Spurs fans. We didn't hear any of that shit.
La. We got a 4-0 last week. It's fine.
Even
I knew it. Good. Even you said to me, we were got a little chat with Harry, and you said to me, and you were like, you were not particularly happy with Maddison. Yeah, you'll just be like, yeah, Maddison's okay, get him in. Like, I've been moaning non-stop about how bad Maddison's been. I'm
blaming you now.
I did. I was full. I was full propaganda. Like, I feel like I
did try. I mean, I was even like, because I was even like, Paulini is he going to cause him a problem? You went, yeah, he didn't start last week.
Like, be fine. Even though I know he's been playing rubbish. Like, it is. Hindsight is the old beware of fans. Beware of fans. Me. But yeah, there is. I'm just like, as I said, we'll know what we want fixtures, but 32 as a wild card place, there's some interesting things I think you could jump on. And what you could do is just load in. Like, you can use Muniz to get Salah, for example.
That is my plan. That's literally my plan.
Because the next two, Sheffield United and Forest for Fulham, and obviously Brighton and Sheffield United for Liverpool. You could jump in, and you could actually jump back off Liverpool again in 32 if you had a wild card. There's no. If you haven't, like, you've already used it, you just stick with Liverpool. But there is an avenue where you could go. I'll go in and come off them again.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely gonna be a lot of people use Muniz to afford Mo, and I'm scared of both of those guys in 30.
Could use a free hit. Could use a free hit.
It's difficult with the strikers, isn't it? Because obviously Solanke's got Everton.
Watkins has got Wolves. I mean, that's the big one.
Wolves at home.
And I've got Haaland. And I'm obviously not taking out Haaland for Muniz.
Not a home against Arsenal as well. Like, I know he hasn't been the greatest in the big games, but I look at it and think Arsenal, Villa, Crystal Palace, Luton, they've got to win them all now. So, yeah. For us, we're assuming Van der Ven's back for the next game. What we saw is that with Dragos in, that's just a big step down.
Yeah. It just wasn't able to. He just wasn't able to pass it properly. You could say he had one as well where he just passed it straight out of play. In fact, the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought he was okay. I thought he settled in quite nicely, and then he was just targeted. It was just targeted. Like, all the goals came from that side. Came from that right centre back side or left centre back side.
I wouldn't. I mean, a lot of people have Son, so most people have Son. So I'm assuming that we're not really facing many non-Son owners. But bar Son, I wouldn't buy any Spurs in 30.
Yeah,
I know.
No, fair.
Just because I think there's other places to go. And I think there's going to be an interesting space with Spurs. When you look at, now we think the 37 doubles is going to be Burnley and Man City. Now they're both at home. And then you've got Sheffield United in 38. But Arsenal and Liverpool are the two games before, and Chelsea at 34.
Yeah.
And Newcastle away at 33.
Yeah. And West Ham away in 31. Which won't be fun.
Like, stashing Porro at 5.6, 5.7 million.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Don't feel sensible.
No. Agreed. Come on. One more game. West Ham 1, Villa 1. We've already spoken about VAR earlier on. West Ham picked up 2 XG here, and
this is nearly 4 XG if you give the 2 goals, because the two goals are literally on the goal line.
Yeah, they're literally on the goal line. Yeah, that's true.
So West Ham would have put up 3.6, 3.7 XG bar those 2 disallowed goals. Yeah, they battered them.
It did. I mean, like the 15 minutes before Villa scored, definitely were much improved. They were miles better. But outside of that, they didn't really do anything that was concerning me. I mean, it's quite funny. I think it was Billy that said that retweeted or posted something saying like that West Ham are actually doing more for Tottenham's Champions League prospects than Tottenham are at the moment. Right now, they're really trying hard to get Tottenham back in the Champions League. You know, winning in Europe, doing their best to beat Villa, all that sort of stuff.
It's going to be a long time away before game week 31 now. Like we're going to have to like 2.5 weeks. So I'm just going to put it in my head now. Just remember, this is what West Ham just did to Villa with Villa without McGinn. Yeah, and West Ham at home. I need to remember that for 31 when I look at it, because I think everyone's going to look at Liverpool against Sheffield United, and I think we're going to look at Arsenal against Luton. But I don't want to necessarily forget Foden and Haaland against Villa, because I think both of those this is a good game for them.
Yeah.
You know, Foden in particular. Look at what, you know, the pass map. You pointed out to me before we started the pass map for Antonio, and he just bang sat there at number 9. But the number of times Kudus and Bowen got on the break, and you were like, this is Foden and Haaland. They could have put a lot of goals past Villa.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
Yeah. I mean, that's 31 is going to be such an interesting captaincy split amongst Haaland, Salah, and Saka.
Yeah, that's going to be. I think most because there'll be wild cards. People will be wanting to put it on their new shiny new toy. They'll be like, I haven't had Salah for so long. I really want to get him back in my team. Well, I'm going to get him back in my team, and I really want him to be my captain this week because it's Sheffield United. I think that's where people will move.
Just rolling your back on Tottenham as we're just, you know, merging all these games here.
Sure.
Son for captaincy in 30 at home to Luton. If you owned Mo and you owned Son, who would you cap?
I would probably cap Mo.
Yeah,
against Purvis, maybe.
Yeah, and maybe not Purvis because old Ecuador. We're tracking flights again. Remember we used to track flights for Stupinan in international breaks.
Yeah.
But Mo's not going away, whereas Son has got Korea v Thailand and Thailand v Korea.
Yeah. I mean, I've got mine on him now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But like legitimately, like, I mean, if we're going to talk about 30, I mean, let's very quickly before we talk about 30. Is there anything else to take from this game other than like Villa no McGinn, poor, Watkins quiet? No, maybe to do with the injury. I don't know. He didn't look really particularly hampered by it, but
nah,
it just didn't. It looked like they had to go wide to cause West Ham any issues, any problems, and you know that meant pushing the ball out to Bailey and to whatnot to make it work, and it didn't really suit him.
We know that he plays just pure number 9 now, doesn't do the channels, but when then you don't have that link to the number 9, the number 9 just gets deeper and deeper and drops, you know, and there's no 10 effectively, or McGinn, you know, McGinn and Doug sort of make that break between the 6 and the 10, you know, type role. They couldn't do that today very much. So it then really starves Watkins. It's easy to defend him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Problem.
Yeah. Okay, so talking of, we were going to talk about game week 30. Was there anything else you want to talk about? I was just going to mention, just as a fleeting comment, obviously like Palmer is a really good shout for captaincy as well. I can't imagine Sterling ever taking a penalty again after today, or a free kick. He's got way too much ego, isn't he, Sterling? But surely just Palmer just rips them straight back off him, and away they go.
Would you cap Palmer over Son?
Palmer over Son? Yeah, I can see it. I can see
I
it.
can see it. I can see a world
Again,
where
I mean, again, I'd rather target. I mean, Luton have been bad, but they've been well. No, Luton have been really bad. I'm just thinking of
it's a problem, isn't it? They have been
yeah,
bad.
they've been bad. If I'm thinking about that Bournemouth game, just thinking about where those goals came from, like all the matchup boys and that and Fantasypedia are going to be saying like Kulusevski's the guy, isn't he? Well, after Semenyo scores 2 from where he does,
Yeah.
and and obviously Chris Wood. Well, I mean Chris Wood scored his goal from basically where Son or Richarlison. Like, does Richarlison come back in?
The thing is with Charlison when he comes in is suddenly the shot volume's always there. He is strong enough that he can make the space to get the shots off, like that ball over the top from Porro that he should have hit first time. If it, I don't think Son necessarily gets those ones because he's got the ability to push himself off the defender. But yeah, do I think Rich goes number 9? Look, I don't know. Like we don't really know. We don't really know how he's going to respond, Ange, to these 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And I don't know how easy it is to respond during an international break when everyone pisses off.
yeah, this is true.
Because Rich is in the Brazil squad.
Yeah,
Son's off. It's like back. You have to back Timo Werner again.
oh god.
Because he's the one that stays. It's like, do you remember when we used to have like Lucas Moura would stay at home, would be the only one just practicing whilst everyone else was off doing international breaks? You're like, oh God, Lucas is going to get rolled out after international breaks. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. We're a hard read.
Let's leave it there, mate. Let's leave it there. Enjoy your 2 weeks off. I will see you again in 2 weeks. For everyone else, I'll be back in 10 days' time with +1. Who that might be, we don't know, but we'll find someone. Someone always likes to come and give me a helping hand. On that, if you are listening to the podcast, make sure you drop a review. If you're listening and watching on YouTube, drop a like on the video before you leave and hit the subscribe button as we march our way onto 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Anything else you want to add before we leave, mate?
No, for those in the old Patreon, you'll still see plenty of us. We'll be active in there. Just not going to be easy to pod.
Yeah.
Not going to be easy to pod.
Sounds good, mate. Well, Game Week 29, let's put that one far in the memory as possible. Didn't happen. And we'll leave it there. Catch you guys later.
See you later, mate.